Thank you, everyone, and a very warm good morning, good afternoon to everyone who is here with us today. Thank you for spending time and joining us for this Stars Cafe. We have a very packed schedule, so I won't drag on for too long. And for the opening remarks, we have Miss Rachel Bevan, who is the director of ESCAP Statistics Division, and she will share with us a few words to open this Stars Cafe on big data. So over to you, Rachel.
Thank you so much, Roth. But thank you, everyone else. It's actually quite a busy week, isn't it? I noticed as well. I should say Happy Easter to those who are celebrating that. This week it's also New Year in Thailand as well, so it's Happy Songkran. And I think it's also Ramadan period as well. So there's a lot going on. Equally, I think there's a lot going on in the world of big data, and that's what we're here to talk about today. So as Roth has said, I'm Rachel Bevan, so I'm the Director of Statistics Division here at ESCAP, and it's my pleasure to welcome everyone to today's cafe. And we really do appreciate it actually as well, given it is a very busy week and a kind of holiday week for some people as well. So it's fantastic to see so many people have joined us. As Roth said, we're looking at big data in official statistics today, and I'm sure that every single person here today has experience of using big data, whether we're really kind of aware of it or not. But we're all using it probably on a daily basis when we're looking at our mobile phones, searching for live maps to work out the best route to get home, or whether we're searching online, as I often do, for the best price for something I want to buy. But you know, big data is so much a part of each of our everyday lives, but it's also becoming an important part as well of the work of national statistical offices. And we're really seeing that huge potential to use big data to fill some of the SDG data gaps, but particularly in areas like gender equality and measuring the environment, which are actually two of the biggest data gaps across the SDGs. And the importance of big data has also been highlighted by the ESCAP Committee on Statistics, when in 2020, the committee decided to feature big data for official statistics in its future work, with an emphasis on sharing country research, experiences and good practices, and facilitating capacity development. And that's exactly what we're doing today. And in 2021, in ESCAP, we also took the work forward. We held an expert group meeting where we delved further into the barriers, really looking at what was stopping people adopting big data. And then in 2022, we published a guidance note on the use of big data in official statistics. And that note particularly looked at the use of mobile phone data. We can make sure that everybody can link to that as well. We can provide a link to that one perhaps in the chat function. But we've also been working in ESCAP as well with several other UN agencies. And through that, that really highlighted the need for greater attention for work on the environment and gender. And so we've been partnering with several UN agencies to establish a set of 46 environment gender indicators. And they were presented and welcomed by one of the previous ESCAP committees on statistics as well. But whilst it's relatively, I should say, relatively easy to get agreement on a set of indicators, the really hard work comes when we actually have to look at what we need to do to get the data to measure those indicators. And with these particular kind of set of environment gender indicators, we know we need to go into a lot of granularity to measure them. And that means we've had to look at different data sources and actually exploring the use of big data to see how we can actually meet those needs. So today, we want to share findings and lessons learned from a pilot project that we've been doing in ESCAP on the use of big data to measure the connection between the environment and gender in Asia and the Pacific. And we've been working with Cambodia and Mongolia to produce a sample of the 46 environment gender indicators, which I just mentioned. So in Cambodia, we explored the use of nighttime light data from Google Earth Engine to measure the proportion of population with access to electricity, but disaggregated by sex. And then in Mongolia, we developed a model using satellite images from Google Earth Pro to estimate the proportion of the Ulaanbaatar population living in Gers by sex. So Gers are traditional Mongolian houses. So I'm really pleased that today we've got with us Mr. Lai Shan from National Institute of Statistics of Cambodia and Mr. Ulaanbaatar Shagda from the National Statistics Office of Mongolia. And we've been working with both of them on the development and implementation of the pilot project. Today, we're also going to hear from two of our consultants and the two NSOs I've just mentioned will also be presenting their work in a bit more detail. We'd also like, we want to share our lessons from this work, but we also want to use this opportunity to better understand your interests in this area. So as ever, we really do encourage you all to share your experiences during the Q&A session, but also as we're talking through the chat function as well. We really do want to learn more about work which you might be doing in this space as well. And we always value these opportunities to learn from colleagues across a diverse range of institutions. And we hope as well through this Stats Café session that you're able to also do some kind of cross-learning with other people as well throughout this session. As ever, you can always reach out to our team afterwards if you've got a specific question or if you want to share more details on your work as well, please do reach out to us. So myself and a couple of my colleagues will be traveling to the World Data Forum in April in Hangzhou, China, and we're also going to be sharing more of our experiences on big data at that forum. That's an opportunity to share not just within this region, but actually across the whole world. So I hope that some of the people who are joining us today, that you might be able to join us in China. But if you can't join in person, that event is also open to virtual participation. So there's another opportunity there as well to join in with that work. So before I just really want to also say a huge thank you before I hand back to Roth. Huge thank you to Mr. Lai Shan and to Mr. Ulaanbaatar Shagda for your continuous support and commitment on this work. Not just from the beginning, from the inception, but really through to the completion of the work throughout the whole process. You've both been so engaged, and thank you so much for your close cooperation. That really has been crucial to the success of this pilot work. I'm confident that all of us are going to gain valuable insights from today's session. So thank you, everyone, and I really hope that it's a very engaging Stats Cafe. Please do make the most of the opportunity, like I say, post things in chat to ask questions. But now let me hand back to Roth. Thank you so much, Roth. Back to you.
Thank you, Rachel, for those encouraging words. Next, we will have opening remarks by Mr. Lai Chan, Deputy Director General of Cambodia's National Institute of Statistics. So the floor is yours, Bong.
Thank you very much, Swanrod, and thank you, Ms. Vivian Russell, for the introduction and highlights the Cambodian experience participating in pilot project. Good afternoon, everybody. I have the pleasure on behalf of the National Institute of Statistics of Cambodia to join with you the Asia Pacific Stats Cafe series on using big data to measure the nexus between gender environment in Asia Pacific region, which was organized by ESCAP Statistics Division today. Taking the opportunity, I would also like to express our deep thanks to the Statistics Division of ESCAP for selecting Cambodia to participate in the pilot project on using our big data to measure nexus between environment and gender last year, and we have just organized at the National Closed Workshop recently in March 2023. As you may know, big data is emerging an additional source for the official statistics and is being officially recognized as an essential source in the context of SDG, including the disaggregated data by gender, age group, disability, and national level, in particularly in the specific country up to our lowest level to support evidence-based and monitoring, as well as intervention policy of the Cambodian National Strategic Development Plan. In this regard, the NIS of Cambodia, through its NIS 2023 and 2028 implementation in the upcoming year, among the 8 strategic objectives and the specific strategic objective on the use of big data as the new source in official statistics, especially measuring the environment, gender environment nexus to fill up data gap for purpose of the evidence-based decision making and sectoral policy intervention has been set up the core strategic priority, and it was mandate to provide strategic vision, direction, and coordination of big data capacity building within our national cost system as the whole. The main objective of this discussion in this Start Cafe forum, I strongly hope that Cambodia will not only have the opportunity to share its experience in implementing the pilot project on specific using of big data mission nexus between gender and environment, and especially through the selected SDG-related indicator on the proportion of population access to electricity using the line nighttime data, and as well as verify with the existing population census and our national survey to reflect on the quality of this indicator. Hope that will be not only to share a real practice and situation in our country context, but we strongly hope that will be the opportunity to get support, continued support from the UN ESCAP, especially with other related development partners in this area. And of course, we'll be strongly aligned with our existing national digital economy and society, as well as the digital government policy 2022 to 2025. Finally, I would like to take this opportunity to thank once again UN ESCAP for selecting Cambodia to participate in this project, and I look forward to fruitful discussion on this forum. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Bon. Thank you so much, Mr. Lai Chan, for those kind words. Next, we have Mr. Arianbo Shakta, who is the director of Mongolia's Census and Data Analysis Department of the National Statistics Office of Mongolia, who will share a few words with us. So over to you, Mr. Arianbo.
Thank you, Rod. Good morning and good afternoon, all. Welcome to everyone present here. First of all, I would like to thank you in advance for joining us at the Status Cafe. Also, I would like to express my sincere appreciation and gratitude for this opportunity to share and to introduce our study results to all of you. With support of Statistics Division ESCAP and of Mongolia, successfully completed the project using big data to measure one of SDG indicator, which the proportion of population in Ulaanbaatar living in traditional houses Gers by 6. Since the global working group on big data for official statistics was established in 2014, it has been past on a decade. As all you know, quite a lot scientific efforts have been taken toward using big data in production of official statistics, and multiple study findings were introduced. Along the same lines, NSO of Mongolia also paying attention forward and taking actions. We have no doubt that soon enough, further development and sophistication in this area will allow the more useful approaches, which can replace the traditional official statistics. The statistician, Mr. Nimbai, will provide detailed information about our pilot study result outcome, and please feel free to ask question interest, and please provide us your valuable opinion and comments. I wish you all the very fruitful event. Thank you. Back to you, Rod.
Thank you so much, Mr. Arianbo, for those concise opening remarks. And with that, we are now entering our first set of presentations. The first one is by our very capable international consultants, Mr. Matthew Shearing and Ms. Titi Kanti-Lestari. Mr. Matthew has worked with the UK for Office for National Statistics for 15 years on national statistical system development, and he's now co-chair of the International Statistical Institute's Capacity Building Committee, among other works. And TT similarly has worked for BPS Indonesia for a very long time. She was Director of Finance and Information Technology and Tourism Statistics, but we're glad that she's with us today. And with those words, I should pass the floor over to Matthew, who will start us off with the first presentation.
Okay, thank you, Rod. Hello, everybody. I think I'll try to be very quick because it'll be good to hear from the countries and their experiences. We just wanted to think about the big picture when it comes to big data and this project. And I'm just back from the IOS conference in Zambia last week. And what was very interesting there, I mean, compared to 5 or 10 years ago, nearly every session that talked about official statistics, talked about data science, it talked about the opportunities and challenges with big data. So, you know, it's something which is very, very important to us. But I think there were 3 kind of themes coming out of Zambia, which are highly relevant and almost the same as the 3 themes which came out of this project. The first one was that we can't really deal with big data. We can't really use data science in official statistics unless we are using partnerships. And this is partnerships across government. It's partnership with data producers, people that hold big data, and it's partnership with users. And we're going to keep coming back to that. And these are really important to solve some of the challenges that we have. Also, we can't talk about big data without talking about traditional types of data. Let's not forget that census and surveys and administrative data are a really important part of the picture here. And when we talk about using big data in official statistics, nearly all the time it has to be about combining it with other traditional data sources. And what we shouldn't forget is that there are huge opportunities with administrative data, government-held data, that if we innovate with those as well at the same time as big data, then we begin to be able to fill some of these data gaps. The other kind of key message was actually around, well, within all of this, we have to be strategic about how we approach big data, meaning that we have to make choices about our investment of time and resources in big data, balanced within the overall picture of transformation and modernization of the statistical system. And we have to think about priorities first and foremost. We have to think about costs and benefits. So the issues we'll talk about today are very much not just regional, they're also global, which is also an opportunity, I think, because that allows us to think global, to think about these partnerships in an expansive way. So just a quick overview of the project. So as Rachel mentioned, we have this very important space around gender environment. But if you didn't know already, the UN Women, UN Environment Programme, UN ESCAP, and the International Union for the Conservation of Nature have actually developed a range of gender environment indicators based on the SDGs. So the project kind of focused on these indicators, and we were thinking about, well, okay, how to explore how we can use big data to help some of these gaps. And we also know that within this, there was a big demand across national statistical system to use big data more effectively to fill gaps in general. So a lot of the lessons from this project were really not just about gender environment nexus, we're also kind of cross-cutting. So what did we do? We selected some big data sources to match indicators where we knew there were data gaps that for user needs. And we had to really think about, well, we only had a short amount of time to do this project. So we selected those in data which were easy to access, easy to use, and which we know have a high data quality component. And it's well established that Earth observation data, geospatial data, has really high elements of timeliness and accuracy. So we thought we'd use those because they had the best potential in a sense. Then the ESCAP team carried out training. So we delivered some training to the NSOs in Mongolia and Cambodia to ensure that the basics about using big data were well known, but also some of the detail around how to use Earth observation data in an official statistics context. And my colleague Titi will talk to you a little bit more about what that involves in a moment. We then developed a data production model, so step-by-step guides to how you can source the data and process it, and then importantly, combine it with traditional sources to really explore technical and strategic issues. Then the NSOs, which you'll hear more about, they tested that model and then they reported back. And from that, we've developed a kind of strategic guidance documents for how to take developments with Earth observation forward. We've also done some disseminating, so we've talked regionally and globally to experts in big data and Earth observation data, which we found was a really important part of actually generating better conclusions around this data. And again, the partnerships are a really important part of the process here. So in terms of big data in general, just to take a step back, we know there are data gaps, and we know there are specific data gaps in gender, and we know that current data sources don't quite get us there. So of course we need to do something about it. But there's some really important things to remember here. And I personally feel that we should really make sure that we're being demand driven. So we're really being, we're tied into what users want. Because if we don't do that, we're going to waste resources on looking in the wrong areas. We're not prioritized, and we'll also not get the support from users to generate the resources that we need. We know that big data is out there, and we know there are lots of opportunities, but we really have to focus on the right ones that are going to give us returns in the long run. We also need to be responding to these opportunities and not promising. And by that, I mean that our stakeholders, our customers, our users expect something to happen, but we don't always have to do something. We have to at least experiment to show that we are thinking about it and to show why we aren't doing something or why we're doing something in a particular way. That's a really important part of this process. Related to that is thinking about the costs and benefits. Using big data has a cost. And in lots of cases, lots of NSOs, national statistical systems, don't have the resources yet to do it. So we really have to think about how much it's going to cost and what is going to be the benefits, particularly compared to other data sources. And we know we can innovate with government administrative data as well. And that may be something which is a preferable choice to be doing, or we should be doing in combination. And as I said before, we really need to think about partnerships, new ways of working in order that we can deliver something using big data. And as you can see, there's a GSBPM, a slice of the GSBPM there on the screen. And we position this project, I would say it's in the specified needs area where we're checking about data and availability. And in effect, what we're doing is preparing a business case. So when we have a conversation today and when NSOs are looking at big data, we really need to think about business cases, costs and benefits. So in terms of the overall conclusions, you'll hear a lot about what Mongolia and Cambodia did. On the technical side, I think what was really encouraging is there was a good rate of success in using these Earth observation data sources with relatively little training, with relatively little technical components. Data could be used, and some good data was produced on the basis of that in a relatively short time. So that was really encouraging. But further work is needed to operationalize these techniques so that we have the right level of data quality. We solve some of the technical challenges, which we'll hear about. But in this process, we identified some solutions to those technical challenges, which is also really encouraging. So there is a really high potential way forward to use Earth observation data, at least for official statistics needs. And I'd say we've got a really good foundation on a geospatial level for measuring the indicators which we focused on. But I think one of the most important things to recognize is that in terms of the gender environment nexus, I think that's the next step. I think we're not quite there yet in understanding how other big data sources and how other administrative data can be combined with them to really understand this gender environment nexus. But we got the basis from a geospatial level for that development out of this project. On a strategic level, as I mentioned before, partnerships. I can't emphasize this too much. So nearly every NSO across the globe, even the most well-developed, need partnerships. We need partnerships to access technology, to access skills, and sometimes to access data. And these partnerships, as I said before, should not just be with data providers, data producers. They also need to be with users. We need a kind of a consensus here around the direction that the national statistical system needs to take, and all of our stakeholders working with us to solve some of the problems. And this becomes even more important when we think about how rapidly technology and data are changing in the modern data ecosphere. So we know that NSOs are government institutions, and we don't have a tradition of being that agile, and by the nature of the beast, that's true. So actually, as the world changes, as the data ecosphere changes, we perhaps need to think about agile relationships with partners so that we can adapt our approaches. So we're not left with legacy technologies which are not relevant, legacy skills, and et cetera, et cetera. So we have to be dynamic in these partnerships. We also need partnerships we know we need to do more research on this, but we know NSOs don't necessarily have all the time to do the experimentation and the learning. So we need partnerships to understand the scientific elements, the technical elements in more detail, such as with academia and with business. We also potentially need partnerships for learning about this and decision-making tools. So perhaps what we need to think about is new ways of sharing learning together, and also tools which help national statistical officers do the strategic decision-making I was talking about earlier, which we don't have at the moment. We have useful sets of guidance, including the guidance which ESCAP have delivered. We mentioned that earlier, but I think we need to go a step further. We need to work together on improving this area. And of course, as I mentioned before, improvements in traditional data in parallel are going to be really important. But within this, we also have a lot of opportunities, and we need to and not just think about this as a challenge, we need to think about the opportunities which are there. And there are lots. We have the NSDS process, and in most NSDSs, there is a cross-government approved set of objectives around digitalization, about the use of digital data, and that should be used as an opportunity to leverage support. We also know a lot of countries have cross-government digitalization strategies, and there is an opportunity to talk to government about how the national statistical systems can fit in for that. What the project showed as well, or underlined, is that there is a demand from these partners I'm talking about to work with you. There's a big demand from business, from NGOs, from international organizations to support and work together on this process. We also know there's lots of developments globally and regionally around data sharing between governments. There are models, memorandum of understanding, which can be developed, and there's a lot of work to utilize. And we also know that there's global debate around the development of legal frameworks, which kind of help NSOs deal with all of this. And those legal frameworks are not there yet, but there's an opportunity to help guide that process when we're thinking about standard models for statistical laws that really encourage agility and working externally within those fundamental principles of official statistics. I'm going to hand over to Titi now to talk to you a little bit about the overview of the training that we delivered in the context of the project. Titi.
You're on mute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Matthew. Yes, we train the people in NSO, Cambodia and Mongolia.
Titi, I think we're losing you a little bit.
It's open source data, Google Earth Engine.
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you. Maybe
Okay.
you can
Okay.
try to turn off your video. If it's internet problem,
Okay.
maybe it's better. Okay.
Yes. So yes, the data is from a Google Earth Engine. There are vast data there, although some are limited, such as the band is not all the band in there, and also Google Earth Pro, and other is SAS Planet. For Google Earth Pro and SAS Planet is more have a high resolution. This is the which is need for more like detecting slum or detecting various crops and other. And the processing platform that give by the Google Earth engine is it's free, and the language JavaScript or Python that can be used. And other platform is Quantum GIS or QGIS with Oriental box plugin, which is also free download, while the ArcGIS is pay. Next, please, Matthew. Thank you. Sorry. Yeah. And the important thing for official statistic that we have to refer the 10 fundamentals statistic. So that's in that quality in that fundamental statistic. Uh, there is also the quality of the data, and UN also have a manual for the quality assurance of the data. The first one is the NQIF by UNDESA, and also Big Data KF by UNIS. This can be used as a reference for processing the big data. And the common errors with yet Earth observation data, usually the cloud cover, which is it is need correction of the data, especially if the NSO want to use several years or several time, and also the low resolution and missing image because of the camera or something. Next, please. This the example of the platform of Google Earth Engine, and it's quite easy actually for some people. And the result on the left console and in the middle console for the code of the Python or JavaScript. And people just need to sign in, and then it can be linked with the Gmail address, email address. Thank you. Please, next, please. And yeah, the next one is the Quantum GIS. Actually, yes, as mentioned before, is free, and also have in the Quantum GIS there is two possibility. You use code or you just use the available plugins. Then Mr. Nyambar and Samrot will explain more about this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Titi and Matthew, for those detailed presentation. Next, we have presentation by our colleagues from NSO of Cambodia and NSO of Mongolia, who will share more details about their project for the project in their respective countries. So first, we have a presentation by Mr. Somitir Bui, Director of the Department of Statistical Information Services from the National Institute of Statistics of Cambodia. So over to you, Bong.
Yes, good afternoon from Cambodia. And this season we also have the Khmer New Year. Some pagoda or some school they celebrate the Songkran, like as Mr. Rachel has mentioned in Thailand. And currently, our most of our staff they are very busy with the agriculture census. So even me now was in province for supervision of the agricultural census. So allow me to share the slide presentation. Okay, can you see my slide?
Yes, we can see the slide.
Okay, first of all, I would like to say thank you to ESCAP that give this opportunity to the National Institute of Statistics to participate the pilot project on the using big data to measure the nexus between environment and gender. So here we present the finding and lesson learned from the pilot projects. So come with the content. We first is a project background, methodology, hands-on, finding, challenge, and way forward. So the project background, as already mentioned in this workshop, the purpose of the project is to measure the nexus between environment and gender. And indicator that related to the this project is population access to electricity by sex at national level and province. And expected outcome is testing the methodology, and then national guideline will be uh, produce it for the for future works. And second is the methodology. This project is we have the three gate. That the first gate that we are using the Google Earth engine, and that the teachers have mentioned. And this system will provide us the 9-line time data. And then the second gate we are using we are setting the threshold, and then we aggregate the data. And the third gate is the quality assurance and sensitive analysis and validation of the data. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes,
Yes, we
yes,
can hear you.
I cannot move my slide. That's why I asked. And this is the determinant input data and pre-processing. So we are using the Earth observation data. So we need to register with the Google Earth engine. And then we sign up with the Gmail account that Titi have mentioned. And then we have this working area with the Google Earth engine. We need to use script, Python or JavaScript, as Titi has mentioned as well. And this is the code that we are using. And after that, we will got the rajang from the the district or provinces boundary that we are using in this code. So in here we only use we can write the code ourselves, or we can use the code from the another script from such as from the World Food Program. And we select the area by a specific area, by country or by province or by district. And then we process the by running this code, we will get the 9-line time data. And this result we copy it to the Excel file or CSV file to compute this data. And this is the instruction for the pre-processing data. I would not much mention clear about this, but we are using this methodology by comparing the result of the using an observation with the recently survey like a social economic survey at NS has conducted every 2 years. And population census in 2019 we just released. And this population census we conducted every 10 years. And between the 10 years, we have the intercensus of 5 years between the 10 years. Sorry, I cannot move my slide. Hello?
Yes, we can still hear you.
I may turn on my phone. That's why sometimes I cannot move my slide.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. And this processing and output, this threshold is used to determine the access to electricity is not yet available. And that's why we do this pilot project. And this is the formula that we are use. We calculate the electricity access rate, and we is aggregate by sex. So we use the total number of women with access to electricity divided by the all female population data for all commune or by national level, depend on the data available. And this is this hands-on. We are using the World Food Program code. We getting the district level. You can see in the left in the column. And then we got the in column C, we got the Rajang from Google Earth Engine, like 9.79. And then we adjusted the Rajang by we use the Excel formulation. If column C is greater than 0, and then we use the column C minus by 0.35. After we got the adjusted region, we using the cutoff point by quartile. And this column, in column E, we also use using the Excel formula to calculate the cut point of by quartile. And column F, we are using the median by quartile as well. We also using the Excel function. And in column G, we assign this area, and this is by district level. So if it is equal 0, it means that this district is not access to the electricity. And then it equal to 1, it means that this area is accessibility to the electricity. And column K, column L, column M, we matching to the population census. We got the number of household, number of total population, and number of female population. And then we calculate by the household access to electricity, and then we continue to calculate by the formula. So within the result, we set up the three threshold, and the first threshold is we think that is the most appropriate to the census or survey that we currently conducted. So the first threshold is 11.059. So we will, if we calculate by the big data, we found this 87.6. And if we compare to the social economic survey 2019, we found 86.4. So the result is very similar. That's why we think that the first threshold is a good that we need to use this one. So in the bottom, we found the result that if we compare to the first three columns, it is a proportion of household with access to electricity we see is 92.07, as compared to the red one, the last column. Result from population census is 84.1, and the social economic is by household level we found 90% So this result is very similar. So that's why this based on the big data we are currently using is a little higher than the real survey and census. So this is good for the policy maker. They will think big data source is more higher than the census and survey data. So after we conduct this pilot, we found the challenge. The World Food Program district code is provided by consultant. You will see here the left in the table, and they are using the different code, World Food Program code and as district code. In World Food Program, they are using 5 digit. You will see here, suppose Malay commune is 5 digit, but in district of the NS boundary code, we are using four digit 0109. So it is difficult for us to match the population census that I just mentioned the previous slide. So we need to merge table together to calculate the percentage of female population. So population projection is not compute up to commune level. Suppose we want to calculate suppose every year. So based on population 2019, and then NS do the projection, but by national level and or by province level only, not by district level. And way forward, we hope that we can upload our shapefile to the Google Earth Engine. Hope consultant will help us to do this job. And if that is possible, we amount our staff. Our new department, we in charge of the big data. So we will calculate up to a commune level by every month or by every year. We will discuss with the top management of NF. And capacity building is very needed because this is very new. This big data is very new that we need the capacity building workshop or training for the NS staff. We also need to learn on the programming, like as TT have mentioned in Google Earth Engine, and they are using the JavaScript or Python. So we need to learn this programming. Python, I think, is very new as well. And through the project, we can be able to apply the 9-line time or Google Earth Engine to estimate the order data, such as a poverty rate or crop cultivation area. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Bong Mathieu, for sharing us your experience and the lessons learned, challenges from the pilot project in Cambodia. Next, we have a presentation from our colleague from NSO Mongolia, Mr. Nyembayat Zorik. He's a statistician in the Research and Sampling Division, Census and Data Analysis Department of the NSO of Mongolia. So he will share with us lessons learned and challenges and opportunities from this pilot project that we conducted in Mongolia. So over to you, Nimba.
Okay. Let me share my screen. Okay. I hope you can see all my
Yeah, we can see
slide.
and
Yeah.
hear you well.
Hello, everyone. Today, I will introduce ESCAP and NSF Mongolia joint pilot project outcome. And this is estimation of share of our urban population who living in unsanitary and inadequate housing by gender. And this is SDG 11.1.1.
You're muted, Nimba, actually.
Oh, sorry. Okay. I introduce our pilot project result according to this following content. I think I have little time. And in bigger picture, project goal was to measure nexus between environment and gender. Choosing indicator was SDG 11.1 and 1. And our project expected 3 outcomes: national guidance accordance with big data utilization, and model testing and outcomes, and project report. And in Mongolia, Gers is traditional special dwelling for Mongolians and especially nomads. Ger purpose designed to be easy for nomads to load and move 3 or 4 times each year. It's countryside. But in settled culture or in urban area, the gear is not very suitable. So question is gear districts are slum districts? Whether is gear inappropriate housing? So by definition of UN habitat, answer is yes. Gear is inappropriate housing by following 5 criteria. And our main purpose of this pilot project was extract gear houses from satellite imagery. First step was collect and prepare satellite imagery from open sources. And second is run algorithm that object-based image analysis. And last step is checking and aggregating the final result, calculation of produce results. And that's model of the gear detect gear houses. It works with Orphea toolbox based on QGIS open source software, and Orphea toolbox performs calculations in 5 sequential steps. Segmentation, calculate some critical values, and tell the model these are the gears, and train model, and using training data model, classified polygons. And our estimation outcomes. First of all, we choose to detect gear houses in Chingilte district of capital city Ulaanbaatar, and then in order to reduce of the jams during the calculation, the satellite image of the Chingilte district area was divided into 6 parts and prepared for calculation. With this open space and built-in area of the Chingilte district was removed, cropped by only the Gers district area. And that was our satellite imagery preparation. First, the model testing made on Chingilte district. First result is hard to draw the gear shape, size, and to recognize kind of gear because color is not different from the background, sometimes in darker from the other gears. Second, sometimes it might cause the misrecognition. And the third, a house with same white roof as gear is extracted. This white roof with white roof building is extracted. Yeah. In the fourth, some of gear roofs are collected twice or 3 times because reflected 2 different colors. Maybe it's depending on the angle of reflection of the satellite imagery. That's first results. And here are comparison of models that can be suitable for detect gear houses. And random forests performed better because detected other objects as a Gers. Number of wrong recognitions was favored compared with two other models, decision tree and K nearest neighbor. And we choose random forest model. And after that, we produce data processing and cleaning process. First step is sort by area and remove greater than 80 square meter. Average Gers area was 60 square meter. And second bias was many buildings were detected as Gers, and solution is overlap with building. It's from the cadastral database. It's source of land administrative agency, which is close relationship with us. And third step is eliminate or merge duplicate, that one Gers is detected 2 or 3 times, but it's not specially duplicated. It was especially intersects or Gers is divided into 2 or 3 polygons, as I mentioned before. After that sequential 3 steps, final result is 7,599. And main result is here. 83% of Gers in Chingte districts were detected, and 85% of the total population living in Gers was calculated. And there's same result in female population, 85% of the total female population living in Gers was calculated. And what was the advantages and disadvantages? And cost efficient and time saving is advantages, and model accuracy can be upgraded. Maybe this model has high potential to make many other estimations. And some bad results here. Our estimations were huge. I think 30,000 our estimation was. And the result requires data cleaning process, and it consumes many time. And there is error risk while merging the two data sources. What was the challenge? The main problem was when we using Google Earth Pro. If you want to download big map, the image will have poor quality. Or if you want to download high resolution image, it means the image will capture small area. And this causes the following problems. How to split the map without missing area, or how to run model that so many times. And we was looking for an open source program that can download images at once. And so we used the SAS Planet software instead of Google Earth Pro. It's possible for download high resolution imagery and downloadable whole map at once and save locally. Offline working is possible. And that's why we choose SAS Planet. And next challenge was join detected Gers into demographic information. And we have two choices. First option is special join detected Gers with location of households from population and household database. But this option was not effective and caused some errors. And the reason for this errors wasn't much exactly. So then matched within 20 or 30 meter. and still connects with wrong points and might create some duplications. Option 2 was more effective than option 1 because it's connected by cadastral layer. We detected Gers and households locations both with cadastral parcel. Maybe that's some constraints when we use cadastral layer. Quality and coverage of cadastral parcel map, it's not enough sometimes, and extra data processing steps is required. And next challenge was time consumption. Here's most time consuming steps, especially most time consuming step was prepare imagery and run segmentation. So maybe next or third time consuming step was data cleaning. The model detected Gers successfully. However, it has several biases, as I mentioned before. Quality of input image is crucial, and some other free apps like SASPlanet is preferable was. Estimation of the realistic indicator for national level is feasible. Of course, it requires more time and better utilize combination of software because they are different functions. Here are our findings. And what do we do next? We will keep to work on this model and improve it. Maybe in near future, after improve of model, we will estimate this indicator at national level. And our another goal is to use the satellite imagery and remote sensing technology, such as rainforest, to estimate agricultural harvests. It's our another goal. And so finally, we are open to explore, and we will explore and study other experiences and initiate cooperation and partnership, as I mentioned, Mr. Matthew, in this field. Thank you. Thank you, ESCAP, for this great opportunity for the estimation SDG indicator, for experience for this project. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr.
Okay.
Nyambaya, and thank you for your active participation and cooperation. Without which we would not be able to achieve what we've done. Unfortunately, we are running over time, and so we would have to skip the Q&A. But please, as I put in the chat, do reach out to me if you have any questions and or would like to share your own experience. We will be happy to be connected and provide you with more information as needed. Thank you everyone for the presentation, the contribution so far. I will now hand over to our director, Ms. Rachel Bevan, for some closing remarks before we close this session. So over to you, Rachel.
Thanks so much, Roth, and thanks to all the speakers. I mean, in terms of questions, I see there were a couple of questions from Ting Ting Chen on the chat, so I hope somebody can come back to her. Unfortunately, I don't know the answers to those questions, but I'm hoping other people joined in will know the answers, so we will definitely endeavour to answer those, because I think that's really interesting. I mean, I think what it really highlights today is kind of the two sides of things, that big data has huge potential, but it's not necessarily, really, really easy. You know, when we actually get into the practicalities of what you need to do at the country level, that's where, you know, we really have to work country by country. We can't just take these kind of tools and then apply them in every country in an equal way, because I think, you know, we see absolutely that context really matters. And in the work in Cambodia, we could see actually there's some complications, aren't there? And some things that need to be done to really kind of make sure we've got the underpinning structures in place around, you know, the right kind of definitions on the boundaries and some of those practical things that actually need to be put in place quite often. But also, I think, you know, what we saw from Mongolia as well, you know, that was a very specific kind of application of how this kind of big data can be used as satellite imagery. But it's not without it's not without issues. And we can't just apply these without actually really doing that in-depth work to ground truth it, to actually work together, to actually work out, yes, is this going to work? And how can we then kind of build on these experiments and build on these pilots to really try and do this together? But I think, you know, what really kind of, you know, heartens me with all of this is actually the fact that we have open data sources now. We have, you know, open tools as well. So we're not in a world that we were in, say, 5-10 years ago, where we didn't really know what to do. We actually do have some ideas now. We have the sources of data. We have some of the kind of tools. And I think, you know, we're in such a better place now to actually look at what we can do together, to really build on those, to work together, to try out these different methods, and then to kind of, you know, build on that. I think doing things for the first time is always kind of complicated and challenging, but then, you know, the next time it's done in that country, or kind of, you know, you take those experiences on board in a new environment, we can all learn and get quicker and quicker and learn from each other, that we're not kind of starting from scratch. So I think that is really heartening. And I think it's great that we have these fora like we're doing today to share what's going on. We've got the World Data Forum coming up as well, which creates another opportunity. We have another opportunity, actually, I think, with BPS Indonesia, who are setting up their own kind of conference, international conference on data science and official statistics, where people can put in, I think, for papers for that one as well. So there's are lots of these opportunities across the region and globally as well to keep sharing. So I just want to say a huge thank you to Cambodia and Mongolia for all the work you've done, and for being willing to really put in a lot of hard work and dedication to actually trying out these methods. Thank you as well to Matthew and Titi as well for all of your work and your sharing. And together, as Matthew said, it's about partnerships. So let's carry on, let's work in partnerships, and let's carry on together. So thank you very much, and bye for now.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And that's it for the Stars Cafe. Take care, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.